Some days ago I went to a big retail store and they just received a new stock of Adirondack chairs from a famous brand. You know, the one that makes you think about drinking margaritas all day long. The chairs were very nicely made and looked absolutely gorgeous with the nice logos on them, etc. But sure, they have their price, and I read that they may weather pretty quickly. So I decided, why not making my own? So I browsed to the internet where I can get wooden Adirondack chairs near me, and sure, the first store I found was my home improvement store 3 miles away. Headed there, I saw that they also are selling unpainted ones, what I wanted to buy in the first place, but reading some reviews I found out that the already painted ones are a little bit more sturdy. Even they told me in the store that it is the same model. I found out that it isn't. The painted ones are sure better quality, so I proposed to go with those. For around 70 bucks, they are sure not the best quality, but they seem okay for the one or other summer season. I choose a white one as I want some parts to be white anyway. So let's start over. I first tried to remove one of the seat bars that I want to give a natural wood finish. After removing the screws, it needed just a little chop to break loose the glue. Sanding the top and sides to remove the paint, then I gave it a little rub with some golden pecan wood finish by simply using a piece of cloth or kitchen towel. Same thing with the armrests. I only sand down the top and the sides. Try to keep the transition where the paint remains in a straight line, as the wood finish does not cover any paint. It just stains the wood into your favorite tint. So that's why I try to keep the edges straight and clean. So again, I give it a nice rub with my favorite wood finish as well. But sure, you could also paint it to your favorite color. Unfortunately, as the chair wasn't that expensive, it is not made out of wood planks, but out of hardwood veneer. In my case, the left armrest came out not that great, but I can live with the compromise. Now for the backrest, I tried to unscrew the bars for painting them, but with poor results, as they are also glued in place. I decided to only roughen up the surface with a sanding tool to prepare it for the paint job. I give the rub with some acetone to remove any dusts, residue and oils, then mask everything I want to stay white with some masking tape. Between the bars it can get a little fiddly, but with a screwdriver for help it works pretty well. I am roughing up the other side as well and give it another wash. For the paint, I got me some outdoor semi-gloss enamel paint. Sure, for this it's all about your creativity and preference. I go with the color Perfect Sky, but I would also recommend something like Avocado Whip, that has more of a greenish tint to it. In the rare case you never painted something, try to get as few brush marks as possible and keep it a nice even layer of paint. I give it a nice coat. As you can see, I started painting the back first, so I'll be able to turn it over now and have the part resting on the masket joint bars. As you can see, I started painting the back first to be able to turn it over now and have the part resting on the masket joint bars. Now for the seat, I am masking everything that's supposed to stay white as well. Then give it a blast with my sanding machine, followed by a nice coat of paint. Notice that my shirt did not have any paint splatters after the work. I was so proud. Now I will let this dry overnight, or maybe even longer if the paint is still somewhat sticky when I try to remove the masking tape. For the screws, I first grind off the paint residue using a dremel tool. Then I had the idea to paint all of them in copper. I used an acrylic color that I will later seal with a clear coat lacquer. Now on my laptop I designed a nice matching logo for my chair. I want to say that I'm not selling those chairs in any way, they are meant for my own backyard only, so I did not care too much about copyrights here, even most of the design is my own artwork anyways. I chose the Hemingway house in Key West as my theme. But sure, you can use anything you can think of, like a beer brand or whatever. Important thing though is to flip your design horizontally to make it transfer the right way onto your wood. I took a photo of the backrest and scaled it up to the real size. Then I cut apart my design, giving it some little overlay on both edges to make it somehow readable later on. I will not go deeper into how I use a paint program at this point, but maybe there will be a video coming up about this. Just leave me a note in the comments. Off to my local print shop to laser print the design. Important for our transfer later is that it is a laser print, not an inkjet, as it will not work with ink. Also, it has to be printed in the right aspect. As you can see, it has to be printed on 3 pages that I now have to cut down to size and stick together using some masking tape, using the backrest as a template to make it fit. I stick down some masking tape onto the wood as a reference where to align it when I turn the print over. You can use a torch or another light source to put underneath your backrest to fit your design exactly where it's supposed to be. Now I use some Mod Podge here as I love the smell of it, but also I tried it with some wood glue before and it works fine. But Mod Podge has the advantage that it is easy to clean and somehow removable later in case your transfer didn't work out. So give it a nice thick layer of this delicious icing, so as also straight on your print, and stick it onto the wood without moving it around too much at this point. I use a business card for flattening out the paper and get rid of any air bubbles, as they will cause the transfer to fail. As I stick together my cutouts beforehand, I can now go on step by step. Curiously, the next day I am about to reveal if my transfer worked out. I simply use water here. You can use as much water as you want. The more the better in this case. I gently start rubbing away the paper here. Don't press too hard, else it risks to rub off the actual transferred color as well. It's better to make several passes over a few hours and rub away layer by layer. You will see that after the water has dried up, the color fades and a white layer will appear, so gently start rubbing again. When we later coating it with clear lacquer, the slightly white film will disappear permanently, so don't worry too much about that. So on spots where I accidentally chipped off the blue paint, I simply give it a little touch up. As my transfer had some minor impurities, I filled them up with some pieces I cut it out from a second printout I had printed at the store, and redo the transfer procedure. For the bar I removed in the beginning, I printed out the name again, this time simply with my home black and white laser printer. Also, I made a template with some paw tracks of the famous Hemingway cats that have those 6 toes. Even mine only have 5 here, something I messed up. I marked the center with some masking tape and again apply some Mod Podge, scrapping it down with a business card, and clean the edges. Instead of cutting out the paws, I only painted some glue on the spots where I want the print to be transferred later. I must say, also for me, this is kind of a test here. Here I had to cut the template in 2 to make it fit the line of the armrest. Again, scraping it down with a business card and set it to dry. As there were some smaller issues with the transfer, I ended up redraw some little lines with a black Sharpie. Before I give all the pieces several layers of clear coat lacquer to permanently seal the prints. At a trip down to Key West some time ago, I bought one of those mountable bottle openers, a must for an Adirondack chair in my guess, but unfortunately the support bracket for the armrest is too small. So I found this thing in one of my scrap boxes I had left over from another project. I give this a nice coat of key lime green, same as for the brackets that I want to stand out a bit in another color. Alright, now it's time for the assembly. I screw everything back on and proceed to the manual to build my chair together. Also now the time has come to remove all the masking tape, so also for me, this is the first time I see all the parts come together. And yes, there it is, a customized Adirondack chair that invites everybody seeing it for having a cold drink and a good book. I hope you enjoyed. Please leave me a comment and tell me what design and color you have chosen for your Adirondack chair. Please subscribe to my channel Mancave Effects for more home improving and special effects videos. See ya!